and watch the Helen Show.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today's video is going to be a list of some of the scary, weird, and downright bad things that have happened to me since I've been on the road so far. So if you're interested, keep watching. Thank you so much for all of your support and your subscriptions to this channel. I really appreciate it. As always, if you're not subscribed, please do so now and thumbs up this video to let me know you like it. So one of the first things that happened to me was inevitable. A flat tire. On my way to Jacksonville, I blew a tire out and I had about 40 miles to go before the next Goodyear. And as I said in one of my videos, I have a Goodyear warranty on my tires, which means they get replaced for free. So I was really pushing it. Like I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. But I drove on that flat tire for 40 miles and I did make it to the Goodyear and I did get it replaced. So it was no biggie. So I realized these actually aren't going to be in any particular order. So anyway, another thing that happened to me was when I was down south and I was sleeping in my car, it was really hot and really humid. And so I would put down the back windows and have my fan back there like circulating air and everything so I could sleep in here bearably. And unfortunately, one night, a couple mosquitoes got caught up in here somehow because of the humidity and the heat and everything, and they tore me up. I had mosquito bites all up my arms. I had mosquito bites on my ankles. It was pretty bad. So one suggestion I would make for you is when you have your car ready to sit for the night, make sure you're not sitting near like a standing pool of water or something like that where there's going to be a lot of mosquitoes, because you will regret it. Now, the mosquito incident was scary enough, but something else happened to me physically that just really like had me freaked out. So, when I woke up one morning, I was getting, ready to put my shoes on, and I noticed I could not put my shoes on. Like, they just didn't fit. And when I looked down at my feet, my feet were swollen like twice their size. It was so scary. Like, I had never had that happen to me before. And as I did more research on it, I realized it was due to the fact that at that time I was sleeping in my front seat. So I was not actually laying down at night, and the blood was not able to circulate throughout my whole body. In addition to that, I wasn't drinking enough water and I was eating more salty foods, because a lot of the like pre-prep food that I had and a lot of that seasoning and stuff is salty. And so all of that combined led to my feet like swelling up majorly. Now within a day they did go down. I had to ice them a lot and everything, and they did go down. But because of that incident, I changed my whole setup of my car and I began sleeping in the back seat of my car so that I could lay down every single night and that blood would circulate throughout my body. But it was so scary because I was literally like, oh my gosh, do I have a blood clot? Like, do I need to go to the hospital? It was bad. It was really bad. So I don't know if this experience falls under the category of like weird or scary, but it just was an interesting experience that I had. One day I was waking up in a Walmart parking lot, and this was back when I was like sleeping in the front seat of my car. And so as I was waking up and taking down all my coverings and all that, there was a guy that pulled up next to me who was like, I guess, looking for directions on his phone. So he began engaging a conversation with me, asking me for directions. I told him, no, I'm not from here. I don't know anything about this area. And so he kept, he was looking at my car and looking at me, and I was looking rough. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I was not really caring about my appearance, and to a certain extent I still don't, because I'm just like chilling. But from him looking at me and looking at my car, he assumed I was homeless. It was just really, on one hand, very encouraging to know that there are people out there who really are willing to help people in dire straits. But then on the other hand, it was kind of annoying because I did not want to tell him I was living in my car by choice. I didn't want him knowing that much of my business. But at the same time, I didn't want to accept help from someone who truly thought they were helping someone who was like homeless, who was like down on their luck. And so I was trying to explain to him, no, this is not what it looks like. Like, I'm not actually homeless. And he was just like, I feel as if you are really you're really in danger right now. I was just raised to believe that when people are in need of help, you help them. One of the biggest tips I will give you if you're choosing to live in your car is to make sure that you don't appear homeless as much as possible. And that sounds funny, but in this country and in many modern countries, homeless people are treated with disdain. They're discriminated against. You can go in a place and look, like if you go in a place dressed in a business suit and use the bathroom without buying anything, no one will question you. No one will say, excuse me, sir, you can't do that. No one will say anything. If you come in dirty, with old clothes on, looking homeless and try to do that, a lot of owners, a lot of employees will stop you and say, no, we don't have public restrooms. No, you can't come in here. No, you can't sit in here. They will actually stop you just for looking homeless. It's very important that as much as possible, you don't look homeless. People can't guess that you live in your car unless they actually see your car. Like, it's just very important that you just look average. You look normal. One of the bad things that happened to me was the heat. You really got to consider where you're sleeping in your car in terms of region. Once I got past St. Louis, Missouri, it was a lot better. In fact, it was freezing cold at night, like 40 degrees at night in some cases. But down south, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, it is brutal in the summer. So one of the things you have to consider is how to keep cool in your car in the summer. There were points at which I was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not gonna be able to live in my car. Like, this is not gonna work out. It's just so hard to keep cool. I'm so hot. Like, I can't do this. I made it through, and of course, as I said, as I moved further inland and moved up into the northwestern states, it got a lot better. But you gotta figure that out. So one of the things I will also advise you about is making sure you use the bathroom before you go to bed in your car. It was a very unpleasant experience when I woke up one night to find that I had to go to the bathroom extremely bad and I could not wait, yet I was afraid of being discovered out in the Planet Fitness parking lot in my car. So I made the mad dash behind the Planet Fitness building to use the bathroom really quickly. Only a couple 100 yards away did I see someone approaching on their bicycle. Again, afraid that I would be discovered, I ended up pulling on my pants and running away. Like, just use the bathroom before you go to bed, please. Several scary things happened in St. Louis, Missouri. One of the things I talked about was my encounter with the police. I've already done a video on that, so make sure you watch that. Before I actually came in contact with the police, I heard this really loud popping noise, which I was sure was a gunshot, but I couldn't be quite sure. When I looked out my window, there was a truck driving by and people like howling out of it. People like, whoa! Like, where? I wasn't sure if they like shot a gun in the air. I'm not sure if they threw something out of the car. I was like, that was strange. Then the police came. Then, after all of that was said and done, I found out that there was actually a travel advisory for the state of Missouri, and I had completely been unaware of that. Like, Missouri is a weird place. And then the final very weird thing that happened to me just yesterday, actually, was I woke up in the morning and found there was a little small package on the edge of the hood of my car. And I was very taken aback. I didn't know what it was. I was like trying to look into it from my car because I didn't want to get out and touch it. I didn't know what it was. When I got out, it was this piece of cardboard encasing some items. I couldn't really see what they were at first. And it was wrapped in duct tape to secure it all together. And so when I looked inside of it, I noticed that they were actually bakery items. It was like day-old rolls and stuff like that, and they were all wrapped together with like this piece of cardboard and duct tape like joining it all together. And so I was like, okay, this must be somebody again thinking I'm homeless, trying to help me out, like leaving it on the edge of my car. However, I wasn't sure where the food came from. It was not in its original packaging, so there was no way I was gonna eat that food. Like, I'm sorry, I discarded it. Like, I know wasting food is really bad. I get it, but there was no way I was gonna eat food that I had no idea where it came from, what was in it, who touched it, who prepared it. Like, the other thing I want to mention is, before you travel too far outside the city, you definitely need to make sure you have gas, particularly in the west of the United States. When you're on the East Coast, you kind of take for granted that there are gas stations frequently along the way whenever you go somewhere. Out here, literally, you're on the way to another semi-big city, and you hit these places on the road where there's nothing. There are no lights. There are no gas stations. There are hardly any homes. The only homes exist on the farms, and those are obviously the people that own those farms. It gets really scary really fast. I was driving this area, and all I kept seeing was field mice running across the road playing chicken with my car, and I was like, this isn't gonna be good. I had left with a quarter of a tank, and by the time I realized that I was gonna need gas, I was out in the middle of nowhere, and I was freaking out, understandably so. I was able to find gas at one of these really old-fashioned pump gas stations, and I was able to get gas, obviously for a really exorbitant rate. But you know, every portion of your life when you're living in a car definitely has to be thought out and planned pretty well. I mean, before you leave, make sure you have gas. Before you go to sleep, make sure you use the bathroom. Before you do this, make sure you do that. Like, everything does need to be thought out a little bit more because you're in a very precarious situation. Yeah. So guys, those are some of the weird, mysterious, and scary experiences that I've had while living in my car. A lot of these were just my personal tips about living in your car, living on the road. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, keep watching my channel. I have more videos coming up very soon.